to the Construction Big Breakfast, where we give you a hearty serving of insider tips and business strategies to help fuel your day so you can thrive in the construction industry. Now, here's your host.
And hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Tip-Top Tim Fitch, and welcome to the Construction Big Breakfast. Today we'll be diving into some interesting topics, mentoring, all things to do with geotechnical professional institutions in the UK, health and fitness, and how actually being physically in an office can lead to long-term relationships, both professional and personal. And today, joining me for today's podcast is Ebenezer Adenmosun, who's someone I've known for a very long time indeed. Welcome to the podcast, Ebs.
Thanks, Tim.
Can you give our listeners a little introduction about yourself?
Okay, my name is Ebenezer. I'm a civil engineer who specialised in ground engineering. I run my company called Geotherma. We are a firm of geotechnical ground specialists. We get involved with all major projects, all manner of projects. Piling jobs, ground investigations, and anything to do with the ground that would help our construction colleagues.
Terrific. Ebs, it's great to have you on today. But of course, as you know, if you've done a bit of research, the first question before we get into the topics is, well, what did you have for breakfast today?
What did I have? This morning I had a smoothie. Yogurt, strawberries, blackberries, mangoes, bananas, and some flaxseed.
That sounds
all blended
super
up.
Healthy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. You know.
With milk, just milk in it.
No milk, just yogurt.
Yogurt. Oh, well. No, that sounds pretty good.
It was tasty. Yeah.
It's tasty. So maybe that leads us on, because of course I had a bacon roll from.
Tim, that's not good, is it?
From the Taxi Shack, which is in Russell Square, run by Jude. She does a very good bacon roll.
I'm getting hungry now.
After I limit myself to one a week. So maybe we should start with health and fitness, because we met each other, I think, in around 2003-ish.
Yes, it was when I joined a company. May I mention their names?
You can, of course you can.
When I joined Cementation Piling.
That's right.
As a designer.
And I was just on the exit ramp really, because I left in 2004. And I suppose we bumped into each other a few times, the Institution of Civil Engineers, since.
Yes, we have. Yeah, I mean, I attend quite a few of the ground the BGA meetings, and I think yes, we've met a few times in Great George Street, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Until, of course, we used to start, or we still do, bump into each other regularly at our local gym.
Correct. Yes. I usually get there a bit before you, don't I, Tim?
You do?
I'm usually leaving when you arrive.
Yeah.
But yes, we do go to the same gym, and it's. I think exercise is a very important part of keeping one, up and going. That's one of my mottos.
I absolutely agree with you. And I started my real health and fitness kick about 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I've kept that regime going more or less, even through lockdown, although we couldn't go to the gym for ages. But
I do remember bumping into you immediately after lockdown in the gym. Yeah.
That was first few days back's difficult, isn't it, after a break?
It is. I have a jogging machine in the house, so I was using that.
Yeah.
And I do have a few
But let's just quickly go back to how we met at Skanska. I mean, this is a theme that we do promote through this podcast, is that creating that personal networks is really important. But creating them is one thing, you need to maintain them.
You do.
Those occasional touch points at the Institution of Civil Engineers, and now much more regularly at the gym, is why we're sat here today. Because I thought Ebs would be an interesting person to get on, because we're going to find out soon about what else you've done. But when we were just chatting before we started filming, of course we both met our wives in Maplecross House, which is where we both used to work.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So it does go to show that
and for all those working at home, there isn't a reason to go to the office other than to earn a living.
there is, yeah.
And get a life partner. It all comes, yeah, it's all part of the deal. Okay, that's great. So after your time at when did you actually start your own business? How many years ago was that?
I started probably about 6 years ago. So I left cementation piling 2007, after which I freelanced for a bit, and then with a view of setting up my own business, and that kind of the freelancing actually led me to develop my contacts, my networks, which led to me being able to obtain enough clients to start my business. So that was a very important part of the kind of strategy.
Yeah, so I'll just say we've been there. Obviously, we must have started at a similar sort of time. We've been going, this is our 11th year now.
Okay, that's good, really good. Yeah.
11th year.
I don't regret it, it's the best decision I made. You probably feel the same way.
Yes, because I think what I learnt about myself was that I wasn't really wired up to work for a large corporate, although I did for 20 odd years. I can remember 6 months or so after we started the business, we were just still tramping the streets, getting the odd commission.
Yeah.
It'd been successful enough that I wasn't concerned we were going to run out of money or anything like that. And Alison, my wife, said to me one day, she said to me, "I've never known you so happy." And I thought, well, actually, that's an interesting observation. And she was right. Because for me, the constraints of corporate life, I think was probably, certainly making me unhappy, it's probably making me unwell as well.
I think for me, I think setting up my own business led me to kind of get out of my shell. I think when I was in the corporate setting, I was very aware, and I wasn't probably the most outgoing person for certain reasons because I felt constrained.
Yeah.
And I think I've kind of developed my confidence a lot since I set my open set of business. Obviously, you need to have confidence to grow a business. So you need to believe that you can do it. Although, as you're saying, there are times when you kind of doubt.
I think if you go into it not expecting it to be a success, you're probably making a big mistake.
You probably are, but you have moments of doubt, but you just
yeah.
have to keep on pushing on, and I think that helps build your confidence. And I think if you can do that, I think towards the oyster in terms of, that's what I see anyway.
I think we're like-minded there.
I think we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so you've got your consultancy business, all things geotechnical foundations and stuff like that, which obviously there is as I was going to say, a pun. That's a sort of fairly conventional furrow to be ploughed.
It is.
In engineering, you've got an engineering consultancy, but you're doing stuff above and beyond servicing your clients. I know we were talking before, you're heavily into mentoring.
Yes, I am very much into mentoring. One of the initiatives I've been involved in very recently was setting up the Grand Forum undergraduate mentoring scheme, which the Grand Forum is an umbrella group for all ground engineering trade bodies, which include the BGA, the AGS, the BDA, the Federation of Piling Specialists, and I've been involved in setting up this scheme, which involves linking undergraduates studying ground-related subjects with mentors within the industry. So those would be people who are actually working in industry. So it involves linking the mentees and the mentors so as to give them an idea of what the industry is going to be like, and also instilling them the importance of hard work, networking, and also giving them the chance to see what they can be if they stick in the industry.
So that's really, really sort of giving a lot back to the industry. And
it is. I mean,
we
we are a team. we're working with Steve Hadley, who is the chair of the FPS, and we also have a company called Stair Mentoring, who are also helping us to administer the scheme. So we've completed the first year, which was very successful. We're just launching the second year, and we have 35, if I remember rightly, mentees who have signed up to the scheme and have been matched with mentors. So
that's amazing. So when you say it's undergraduates, this is undergraduates studying what, engineering, geology?
Geology, civil engineering,
Yeah.
even we have one or two studying structures. I think we have one or two studying. I think we have one studying structures and architecture. So it's kind of the idea is that we're looking to focus mainly on ground science subjects, but we are getting interest from people who want to do structures, who want to do environmental subjects. So it is becoming quite, I think, an attraction.
That's an interesting point about the environmental stuff, because that's obviously very prominent at the
Correct,
moment in the sort of general public's mind,
Yeah.
because it's obviously associated with climate change and things like that.
It is, and I think in whatever industry you're in, whether it's ground, geotechnical, whether structure, whether architecture, we can all do our part to address the issues of sustainability by designing economically and designing in a sustainable way. And I think that's where we have to go. We don't have a choice. That's where the world's going. And if you don't do that, you'll be left behind.
You will be left behind. But it's also, I know one of the key things is always, because I've been in the BGA for 35 years. I know it's 35 years. You probably see this little hell badge that came in the post from Imperial College. So I graduated as a postgraduate 35 years ago, and it was during my time at Imperial that I joined the BGA.
Yeah. I think
I must be one of the father of the house or something.
I remember the BGA, as you probably know. We do actually see each other fairly regularly at some of the events, so we are probably going to be seeing each other at the Fleming Awards.
She's 2 days. It's going to be 2 days after we're filming this, so you'll be watching this after the Fleming Award.
Yeah, but yeah, we are both involved in that. Yeah.
Which actually brings me up to that. I've got 2 lasting legacies, because I used to be on the, whatever it was called, the board or the committee.
It's probably a committee,
the BGA. A long time ago I was on it. And there's a legacy from my time there, which is the Fleming Award. I devised that.
Okay,
it wasn't my idea to have a Fleming Award, but the format of it and making it happen. The first one was me.
Yeah. And it's one of the main, I think, events of the year in the geotechnical calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I can remember when we came up with the format, it was all going to be about teamwork.
Yeah.
Sort of morphed into collaboration, but that's, rather than being focused purely on the technical.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It must be about 20 years old now.
Mm.
So that's lasted. So the other thing which we talked about beforehand is that I think 10 or 11 years ago I created the LinkedIn group for the British Geotechnical Association. And although groups on LinkedIn they're trying to tease them out, that one is still growing really fast.
Yeah.
I think I was saying to you, I would say 30 people a week still joining it. It's got over 3,000 members.
Yeah.
And it's reasonably active, but
I think there are things that you could have been. I mean, I'm a member too. I guess it's a question of who takes on the responsibility for it, and I guess.
Well, I've been administrating. I'm not the only administrator.
Okay.
But since I'd say the early days of it, it's no one from the BGA has ever contacted me. So there's an opportunity.
Maybe because you're doing such a good job.
Well, no, except I'm not, because all I do is vet the people who want to join.
Yeah.
And I let most people in unless they start misbehaving after the event, and then I'll kick them out. But that's very few. But that is an opportunity for the BGA to market, to spread the word about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because obviously the membership's from all over the world, and
But I guess we most of us, as come from an engineering background, kind of indicate that, or kind of state that we don't feel respected in society, or we're not recognised. And I guess we have avenues such as the ground, we're not really using them to kind of.
But one, I'm speaking as an engineer as you are, is that one characteristic of which is typical of most engineers is they're quite understated. I mean, I may not be typical. They've got a high degree of humility about what they do, and of course that is the humility. People say is a virtue, but in marketing it's a sin.
Yes, it is.
And if you don't blow a bit of your own trumpet, then people won't even know what you do, let alone be able to respect you. Because respect comes with understanding or the perception of what you think someone's doing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, it's not so much disrespect, it's no view at all, which is.
Yeah, and I think in today's kind of world where everyone kind of blows their trumpet, some people who haven't really done much, they blow their trumpets. I think you kind of have to probably do it a bit more, especially if you're trying to encourage new people into the industry. And I think one of our failings as an industry, I think probably in the engineering sector, is that we don't, as you're saying, we don't tell people what we do, and that doesn't kind of it doesn't bring people in. It doesn't. If people don't know what you do, how are they going to come into the industry? It is.
People don't make it sound exciting. What's interesting for me is when there were. They're already about High Speed 2, the TV shows. There've been others in the past. There was a series of really, really great ones on Crossrail. I remember there was that when St Pancras was being renovated. There was a really, really great one there because I knew most of the characters. And of course, the guy who's running it, he didn't want to be on camera. He was prepared to be off camera speaking. They were all fascinating because they're great little soap operas, but they're also immense projects.
Yeah.
And the Crossrail one, all those huge station tunnels. And this is all before it went. Not before it went wrong. It obviously already gone wrong, but before anyone outside of the project realised there was a problem with getting it finished on time. People were amazed. But of course, once it really does open, whether it's sometime next year, touch wood, people will see there's this amazing thing that got built whilst they were walking up and down the street. And,
But I think that, as we said previously, it is about blowing our trumpets. I think as an engineer, you're not kind of trained to do that, but I think if we are going to make the public realise the benefits of what we do and also encourage more youngsters to come into the industry, we have to blow our trumpets. We do.
No, you're absolutely right. I'll blow my own trumpet now. But, quite a lot of what we do is around helping businesses market themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
And a lot of it, engineers, it's almost like a dirty word, marketing. So, it's not. It's just part of a business process.
Yeah.
It's the front end of your business process.
And it's the important part, because if you don't do that, especially as a small business, I think probably the reason why engineers don't see marketing as being important is because you have the large companies who have established themselves and they probably get work through reputation. They probably don't have to market that much. I think when the newer businesses come through, they have to.
What I see, you're right. I mean, when you first start, if you don't do any marketing, then you're going to be staring at a wall.
Correct.
Because the phone won't ring. That's just a fact.
Mm.
Unless you're extremely famous, then you have to have a brand. So
Correct.
even if you were at quite a prominent position, it doesn't result in inquiries.
No.
So, but the other thing about construction is, I'm talking from a contractor's point of view, but it's not really that different. We've got an awful lot of architects and engineers as clients, and a lot of them, they don't see that they can have any impact on the market. I didn't get any inquiries last week.
Mm.
There must be a recession. Where in actual fact, it might be that they just didn't get any inquiries, but they're going elsewhere.
Yeah.
And for instance, of course, contractors, I mean, they've even set up massive national lobby groups for particularly for infrastructure, to say to the government, we want to see all the work for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't invest. But the fact is, it's a bit helpful to do that, but they won't invest in anything because construction doesn't know how to do it. I mean, apart from buying a bit of plant or something. But the people who really lobbied for that, the main contractors, don't own any plant usually.
Yeah.
But they want to be able to plan their business better.
Correct. And I think gosh, I think that's probably one of the things. I think problems within the industry. I think projects. I mean, as a business ourselves, we tend to have a very short lead into a lot of the projects we get involved in, and it is nice to be able to plan things. You know, as you're just saying, but it just happens that as an industry, and that's probably why we are not very good at, you know, projects tend to overrun and kind of, we're not very good at planning things. We're not great at looking forward and kind of, you know.
Well, what we know is because it's a project orientated industry.
It is, yeah.
People think unless, you know, it's clients you have projects, so therefore the client either sends us an inquiry or they don't. Yeah, for most businesses, you only need to address a tiny part of the market to have more work than you know what to do with, even in a bad time, because good marketing will lead to an absolute torrent of opportunity, and then it becomes around choice.
Correct, yeah.
And that's when you think we've got 10 inquiries.
Which ones do we go for?
Yeah, you might sensibly say, well, if we bid 5 and we win 2, that would be good.
And it's also been in the long term. You know,
if you're choosing those 5 from 10, they're going to be better than choosing 5 from 5.
Correct.
Or worse, choosing 1 from 1 and having to win it.
Yeah.
Because I've spent 25 years in the front end of construction businesses, and what I've learned is as soon as someone says this project's a must win, that's when the alarm bell should be going off if you're the owner of a business.
Yeah.
Because although people say it's for strategically positions us, or, you know, we can make a lot of money out of it, what they really mean is we're desperate for work and therefore we've got to win it.
And I guess that goes, I mean, I think if there's desperation at the top, then it kind of feeds down.
It feeds down, you get bad decision making, and it also, the client will pick up on it and they'll exploit it.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, because obviously we do this sort of thing for a living, you watch the large tier ones, the stuff they say publicly about their strategy, and I won't name the company, although all this is publicly available information. Yeah, they launched a new strategy, new CEO, did a couple of years ago. I've looked at all of the old projects, and we're making all the money in these 2 sectors, subsectors. So we're going to focus our efforts on that because we're making 2 or 3% more margin there than we are elsewhere. So we're going to feather that down and then focus all our efforts on that. And name the sectors. So any professional buyer in those sectors worth their salt would want this business on their tender list.
Yeah.
And knows that they get them down to the last knock-ins and screw 3% out of them. Because they know that they've got more margin. They might be better at actually delivering it. That's why they get the margin, but he knows that now, or she.
It's a game.
But
it shouldn't be.
People say it shouldn't be a game. The market is the way it's structured. And what we see with a lot of these sort of industry efforts to reform it, it's an impossible ask, because you need both parts of the equation to reform
to buy into
at the
it,
same time and buy into it. And construction excellence and its predecessors have been trying to do it for over 20 years. It's the wrong approach in my view. I think it needs to be much more entrepreneurial led, and because you can win, but the trouble is it's hard to increase your margin if you're a big behemoth.
Yeah. Without
changing something else, which would probably mean your business model, which is a very scary thing to do if you've got a new business.
Yeah. Anyway.
How are we doing for time? I'm going to check my watch very surreptitiously. So we've had we've talked a little bit how the industry perhaps could enhance its reputation, which is probably about marketing, or communications is probably a less dirty word, but it is marketing.
It is, and I think it's not a dirty word. It is a necessity. I think businesses need to kind of realise that and be honest about it, and realise that you have to do. I mean, as an engineer, marketing is something. I mean, you don't really get. You start getting more involved in marketing as you progress, as you get higher and higher up within organisations, and often as engineers, people don't get there. They stay within the technical, and they don't, build skills in other areas. And I think that's probably another reason why we're not very good at selling ourselves. We stay within something that we're comfortable with, and don't want to push out into the other areas, such as marketing, such as finance, and we're limiting ourselves because no one says that engineers can't be good at marketing or at finance, and a lot of engineers do progress into these areas and become very successful at it.
Just one final point on that, because of course a lot of engineers end up being sort of commercial people and go into sort of general contracts management, that kind of thing, or finance sometimes, because they're all numbers, don't they? People avoid marketing because they think it's words and pictures. In actual fact, quite a lot of marketing is data. And so on that note, let's wrap up this conversation. It's been very insightful, and thank you for joining me today, Ebs. Where can our listeners get in touch with you if they'd like to learn more, or just connect up? I'm fairly fairly active on LinkedIn. So find me there, Ebenezer Adenmosun. Geotherma. Also, we've got a page on LinkedIn which you can also hit in and see what we do. Okay, that's great. We'll put all of those links in the show notes, so they can watch the video and then get your LinkedIn profile and your company website. So wonderful. And to all of our listeners today, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Construction Big Breakfast. We have a new episode every week or so now. Click the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so that you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, we'd appreciate a 5-star review. And if you've enjoyed this episode today, please like it and share it, as this helps us reach more listeners. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast or looking to collaborate in other ways, visit us at our website, which is www.invent.com. The link's in the description, and fill out the contact form. And one of my team will be in touch very quickly. See you next time. Bye.
Want to learn more about how Invennt can help your business maximize its bottom line? Head on over to www.inventt.com and get in touch with our team today. Thanks for joining us this week on the Construction Big Breakfast. Make sure to visit our website, www.inventt.com, where you can subscribe to the Construction Big Breakfast on all platforms so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a positive rating. Or if you'd simply share it with a friend, that would help us out too. Be sure to tune in for our next episode.